But a series that I am not forgetting is I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day, episode 6. And it starts with scenes of the battlefield and Mimi holding her daisy crown that she got from Sheena, and then chopping up some enemies while remembering Sheena is waiting for her and to not get hurt. But then she gets jumped by a bunch of enemies, and she's like, "Sorry, Toots, I can't keep my promise." But then it cuts to the classroom, and Sheena is forlornly looking at the empty seat next to her as Adi and Sadon roll up. And Sadon says she saw one of the upperclassmen who fought yesterday, and maybe Mimi might be back too. Sheena gets to the infirmary, and it's chaos. And Sheena is like, "Hey guys, here to pick up Mimi. Anyone know where Mimi is?" And Fran tells Sheena to go wait in the back room. Sheena walks through the chaos of people dying and bleeding out and gets back to the room. And Sheena wonders if she should help, but she doesn't have any magic that's useful. Quick question here. Why are they like using bandages and cold compresses? Why isn't everyone just like not having a giant orgy in that infirmary?
Okay. First of all, this actually is brought to our attention with Fran. When Fran says, "Oh, you have a little cut, like you're not that hurt. I'm not going to waste magic on you." And I think that most of the kids are like Sheena, where they don't have that actual like magic adaptability, I guess adaptation, or like they're just not that adept at magic as like obviously Fran is. And so like it's almost, these kids are not going to be on the wavelength. They're not, and this was also said before as well. You have to be on the same wavelength as the person that you're trying to heal. It's not just willy-nilly, let's all make out.
Yeah, I know. I said that kind of facetiously here, but you would think if restoration magic existed, we've already seen it. It works. Why isn't this like a Darling in the Franxx situation where you are paired with someone that you are on the same wavelength with, so you can basically like heal each other? Like you should be running in like 2-person pairs when you go out to battle. It shouldn't just be like we just cherry pick individual kids to go fight. Like why isn't there more tactical thought, I guess, put into this? Or is like restoration magic rare? Can not everyone do it? Like I don't know. This kind of becomes a little more, this question is from this scene, but it is also from next episode as well. But I'm not sure what the point of the restoration magic is if it's only used after the battle when everyone is like not on death's door. Even with Sheena losing an arm, like she's not gonna die. She wasn't gonna bleed out. She wasn't in danger of death or anything like that. But then Mimi uses the restoration magic, more probably to restore the arm than to save her from death. But again, I just feel like we've only seen the restoration magic in action twice. And the first time was episode 1, and it was just the 2 girls kissing on the stairs. It's like, why did you have to restoration magic on the stairs? Like no one was even hurt. You're just chilling out. But then now you have an infirmary full of like dying kids and no one's making out with anybody.
I get it.
Yeah, maybe there's something more to it. Maybe they'll bring it up later on in the series. But there's a knock at the door, and it's the dude bringing Mimi back in a burlap sack. And Sheena opens the door, and the dude is like, "Oh, are you Sheena?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she recognizes him as one of the advanced instructors. And he tells her to just tell Fran that he was able to retrieve everything as usual, and drops the bag and leaves. Sheena drags the bag into the room, and it starts moving. And then starts saying Sheena's name. And Sheena opens the bag, and inside of it was a whole sack of t-shirts from it-aesthetics.com, where Advanced Teacher Guy saved 10% off his entire order to Fran by using promo code TABC10 or TABC5 at checkout. And you too can get a bloodied burlap sack full of shirts from IT Aesthetics, just like the one DJ Montague has, or the one that I am wearing right now. So visit it-aesthetics.com, and don't forget to use promo code TABC10 or TABC5 at checkout for 10% or $5 off stacking off of your order.
And shout out to the people that ordered recently. Thank you guys so much for ordering t-shirts from IT Aesthetics. Thank you.
Hope you guys like the shirts.
Yeah, I like them and they're wonderful.
burnt a bunch of t-shirts from it-aesthetics.com inside of a bloody burlap sack.
We don't know that for sure, though.
Well, we do, because Sheena opens it. And
yeah, but there could be like shirts at the bottom, you know what I mean?
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Maybe that bag was made out of shirts that were turned inside out so we couldn't see the graphics.
Oh.
But no, Sheena opens the bag and it's Mimi, mangled as usual, holding the daisy crown. And then Mimi just kind of rolls out of the bag with her hyperextended limbs and is just like,
dude, I was going to say, Sheena's kind of lucky she didn't see the last time that Mimi arrived in a bag where she had to like fucking like reattach herself, you know?
Unfurl herself because she was folded in half.
Yeah. And Sheena's just like, oh, you look kind of bloody. And she's like, oh, it's chill. It's fine this time. No big deal. I think that every time Mimi dies, she loses a memory of something. She seems very not all there every time.
Yeah, maybe it's a side effect of like, restoring yourself. Like you use so much magical energy that you're just kind of like dazed for a bit.
You go into brain burnout?
Yeah, like a 24-hour debuff or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But Mimi restores herself, but not completely, and her arm is still fucked up. But she's like, oops, no, Sheena, it doesn't hurt. Hey, Sheena, what's good? I'm not injured at all. All this blood, just ignore it. I'm good to go. Sheena starts crying and then hugs Mimi and says she's been oblivious and needs to face reality. But Mimi gets mad and said to not apologize. But then Sheena starts crying more, and now Mimi is crying. And then Fran walks in and is like, what the fuck is going on? But then it cuts to the secret teachers meeting, and they report one student from class 15 was seriously wounded, and the enemy is ramping up their attacks. And they can't rely just on Mimi anymore. And they talk about who else they can send into battle. But there isn't anyone, and they need an advanced student to run the exam test for the other kids, but they're all out fighting. But Fran is like, well, in that case, ... But cuts to Mimi after getting all freshened up, and math class is still going, but Mimi is like, fuck math. And Sheena is like, yeah, let's ditch that shit and wait for lunch. They go outside and just watch the clouds, and Sheena is like, I've never skipped class before. Gotta ask Seiran for the notes. But Mimi can't find her daisy crown, so they go to Fran's office and find it. And it's all fucked up, and Fran is still treating kids, while Sheena thinks about what she can do for Mimi as she picks up the mangled, bloodied flowers off of the ground. But the girls go to the courtyard and pick some flowers for a new crown. And Sheena asks Mimi why she took the flower crown with her. And Mimi says it reminds her of happy times. And says she learned a bunch of flower names. And Sheena thinks that making Mimi happy is the one thing that she has going in life. And then cuts to the teacher looking at some letter. But then it cuts to Mimi walking around with Seidon, and they get to a door, and Seidon is like, you don't know your way around school very well, huh? And Mimi is like, nope. But if it was underground and in the dungeon, I got that shit on lock. They enter the teacher's office, and she says they decided to hold Seidon's combat effectiveness exam. And it's a duel between a student and an upperclassman, but no one from class 17 can participate. So Mimi will fill in, and they leave, and Mimi is like, what the hell was that? What am I supposed to do? But it cuts to the dining hall, and Sheena is like, oh, they aren't back yet? But then they show up, and Adi saved Seidon her seat using some little knitted Seidon doll, and Mimi is like, hey, check this out. Seidon and I we're gonna duel. Isn't that sick? And then the whole food hall goes quiet. They talk about it, and Adi is visibly anxious, and the whole hall is just muttering about it. And Seidon is like, shut the fuck up. I chose to do it. And Mimi is like, I want rice ball. But Sheena and Mimi walk to the bath, and Mimi is like, does Seiran like fighting too? And Sheena is like, nope. She isn't doing it because she likes to. And Sheena talks about Seidon's character and how she wants to give back. And Sheena thinks it's the only way any of the students can give back to the school. It cuts to Adi and Seidon walking, and kids are like, man, she ain't gonna last. And Adi wonders why Seidon hasn't been called until now. And the teacher always says, you gotta focus on killing when you win battle. But Adi thinks Seidon would hesitate, and the exam will test her on fighting someone she's friends with to see if she can fight to the death. And Adi whips out her wand, and then Seidon whips out her wand. And Seidon expositions about when she was in the slums, and if a teacher didn't find her, she would have died. And she wants to give back, and she'll fight whoever. Adi puts her big giant wand away and says she'll help Seidon train. The next day, Seidon said she won't be talking to Sheena or Mimi until after the duel, so she can mentally prepare. And Seidon extends her hand to Mimi and is like, let's have a good clean fight. No hits below the belt. And Mimi is like, cool, okay. I still don't know what's happening, but okay, sounds good. Seidon and Ari practice, taking it super serious. And Mimi is just rolling around in bed. And Mimi is like, Sheena, will you be rooting for me? And Sheena is like, yup, I'll root for both of you. And Mimi is like, sick, I'll do my best. And that's the end of episode 6.
I think that this anime is my favorite of the season, for sure. It's just it's well-paced. We're not treated like idiots watching it. And we're getting a lot more enjoyment, like serious stakes out of, like, Mimi's obviously fine, but everybody around her is not. Like, everybody could die at any given time. And even in this situation, if Mimi, a child, again, who doesn't have all the fucking wherewithal to understand death of people that she cares about because she hasn't really experienced it. She's been in a fucking basement for fucking 100 years or whatever. She obviously has some sort of affinity for the girls like Sheena, Ari, Seiron. She absolutely could kill Seiron in this duel and not blink because she's like, oh, well, she'll be fine. Like, I'm fine every time. That's an insane scenario. It's like...
I agree. I think this anime is well thought out. I think it's well directed. And I'll save this for next episode. But next episode, I read some forum posts about people not being happy how that episode went and was directed. And were like anger quitting watching the anime. I'm already caught up. And I don't know why people would say that. At no point in that episode was I watching and felt any hint that this was dumb as shit. I do have notes on it that I'll save for next week here. But I just don't know if they were taking in what I believe the story cues and the conversation cues were. And instead, they are not understanding it's coming out as like a negative emotion instead. Even with this episode here and next episode, I think this anime is great. And again, I say it like almost every time. I feel like when they fight, what little fighting there is, like the animation is good. The character development is good. I feel like the story is good. I feel like everything so far is good. And it's tracking to be what I believe is a really good anime. I mean, they still have like 5 episodes to mess it up. And I've seen it happen in less than 5. So there's still a chance that it's not going to be good or they're going to do something really dumb at the end. But not right now, not up until this point. And this currently is my favorite anime of this season that I'm watching.
Yeah, so me too. Far. Me too. 100%.
Including 100%. The extra credit. Actually, I do really like Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. They actually touched on some cool old man feelings about not being good enough because you're older that really like resonated, and I thought it was really cool.
I think that's kind of my steez, is like I do have the want of watching old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, and it's one of those like I'm glad when you talk about it, I'm really glad that they really go through this stuff because like I've been playing video games since I was 3 years old. That is 37 years of doing that shit. I'm old as fuck. There is always, and I'm a PvP gamer. I enjoy playing against people. And that competitive nature doesn't go away, but is my ability to do all that is required of me in these PvP games. Is that fading? And that's always a question. There's a terrible country song that they kind of have that thought process with, and I can't remember the exact line, but it's like, I may not be as good as I once was, but every now and then I'll be as good as I ever was, or some shit like that. And that's true. Like, there are some days where I am just like out of fucking control. I am one of insane player. And there are other days where I feel like age does fucking catch up, and it sucks. I think we should have watched that instead of
and like they definitely do
dog shit we're about to talk about.
No, they do bring that up, and I thought it was a good episode. It's not like it's not like a completely running theme throughout the whole anime, but they did have almost like an episode kind of like dedicated to resolving that negative thought that Beryl, which is the guy, had at the back of his mind for like the past season and a half.
His name's Beryl because he's so barrel chested.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I think you're
not
right.
a good thing. Anyway,
yeah, his sword is the width of and the girth of a barrel, and as long as a barrel.
It's just his sword's a barrel.
Yeah. He's got a big barrel.
Okay, that seems like it'd be bad to cut with.
Okay.